Okay, Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So today we are going to see how to sketch a rational function. So apa tu rational function? Dekat sini dia dalam bentuk fraction macam ni lah. Okay, which is yang di atas ni biasanya akan jadi constant. Okay, kita kadang-kadang panggil juga dia sebagai reciprocal function. Okay, so first what you have to know is the basic shape of the graph. Okay, macam biasa kalau kita tak tahu basic shape, memang tak boleh nak lukis pun graph tu. So we have two shapes here for rational function, which is kita ada macam ni, and macam gini, gini. So the first graph kat sini is for y is equals to positive 1 over x. And for the right hand side graph kat sini, kita ada y equals to negative 1 over x. So the positive and negative dekat sini akan determine the shape of the graph. Okay, so kalau kita tengok kat sini, ini ialah general general form of the function lah. Okay, so first yang di depan ini, for the yang di depan ini, kalau dia positive or negative, determine the shape of the graph. Okay, so apa yang kita perlu tahu untuk lukis a rational function is first macam biasa the basic shape, and then the second thing is kamu kena tahu asymptote kita. Okay, so asymptote kita ada horizontal asymptote dan juga vertical asymptote. So apa tu asymptote? Kalau kamu perasan graph kita dekat sini, dia tak sentuh pun line ini, which is line ni ialah y equals to 0. Okay, which is line ni ialah x equals to 0. So asymptote tu apa? Asymptote tu ialah line yang function tu tak boleh kena pun. Okay, function tu tak boleh kena. So, maksudnya dia boleh rapat, dia boleh dekat, tapi tak boleh bersentuhan. Okay, itu kita panggil sebagai asymptote. Okay, so macam mana nak cari asymptote ni? Kalau macam saya cakap, ini ialah kamu punya general form of rational function. So where is the horizontal asymptote? Here is your horizontal asymptote. Yang berada di luar ini ialah kita punya horizontal asymptote. Okay, so where is your vertical asymptote? Vertical asymptote yang di bawah ini. Okay, ini ialah kita punya vertical asymptote. So kalau kamu perasan, vertical asymptote represents vertical asymptote represents x, horizontal asymptote represent y. Okay, so maksudnya vertical asymptote ialah x equals to something, horizontal asymptote y equals to something kat sini. Okay, and then the third thing that you have to find is macam biasa x-intercept and your y-intercept. Okay, so let us quickly take a look at question A. We have fx equals to 1 over x minus 1, where x is not equals to 1. Okay, macam the previous function yang saya dah buat, previous graph yang saya dah buat, apa yang dia bagi, that is your domain. Okay, so this is our domain. Kenapa x is not equals to 1? Sebab macam kita tahu, kalau denominator tak boleh jadi 0 kan? So we will have x minus 1 is not equals to 0, x is not equals to 1. Okay, alright, so the first thing that we have to find is the basic shape. So positive, kat sini depan x ialah positive, so we will have this graph here. Okay, this graph ke kanan, kiri. Okay, so kalau positif, atas dia mesti kanan. Kalau negatif, atas mesti kiri. Alright, so the second thing that we have to find is the horizontal and vertical asymptote. Okay, so we want to find vertical asymptote. So vertical asymptote, we have to refer to x, okay, which is the denominator dekat sini. So we will have, basically kita dah tahu dah dekat situ, dia dah bagi kat kita. So x minus 1 is not equals to 0, x is not equals to 1. Okay, so that is our vertical asymptote. So for horizontal asymptote, kita refer yang di belakang. Okay, macam general form dekat sini, kita refer yang di belakang. So kalau kamu tengok dekat sini, ini dekat belakang tak ada apa-apa, which is dia ada plus 0 dekat situ. So your horizontal asymptote will be y equals to 0. Okay, so that is how we find our vertical and horizontal asymptote. So the next thing is just find your x-intercept, y-intercept. So to find x-intercept is when y equals to 0. So just substitute into our function, 1 over x minus 1 is equals to 0. Okay, so kalau dekat sini kita susun balik, we are going to get x minus 1 is equals to 1 over 0. Okay, 1 over 0 dekat sini is undefined. Okay, so macam the previous graph quadratic, kalau dia jadi undefined, maksudnya dia tak ada x-intercept lah. Okay, intercept tu tak ada. You are going to see this when you sketch your graph. So let's find y-intercept. When x equals to 0, so we are going to get y equals to 1 over 0 minus 1, which is we are going to get negative 1 here. Okay, so we have everything that we want. We have our vertical asymptote, we have our horizontal asymptote, and we have our y-intercept here. So let's just sketch our graph. Axis, remember every time you draw your axis, always put your x and y. Okay, terus bubuh. Okay, so the first thing that you have to write is your vertical and horizontal asymptote. So we have our vertical asymptote x equals to 1. So here we are going to have x equals to 1 here. Positive 1 kan? So x equals to 1. Okay, and then our horizontal asymptote is y equals to 0. So here is a y equals to 0. Okay, x-axis kita ini ialah y equals to 0. Okay, so back to the shape of the graph. So here these two lines represent our asymptote. So since this is our asymptote, the graph should be looking something like this. Okay, alright, so kita tinggal draw je lah. Rapat dengan asymptote tapi tak kena. Okay, rapat dengan asymptote tapi tak kena. Jangan kamu lukis dekat sini pula. Okay, jangan lukis kat sini. Okay, that is not our asymptote. Asymptote is here. Our asymptote is x equals to 1, so should be like looking like this. Okay, lukis cantik sikit lah. Okay, so refer back to our x and y intercept. X intercept tak ada. Okay, kalau kamu nampak tak kena pun dekat x intercept. Y intercept is here, which is negative 1. Okay, so label your graph y equals to 1 over x minus 1. And then let's find our domain and range. So our domain should be, ingat back to the first video di mana kita cari domain dengan range. From the left, negative infinity, berhenti di 1. Okay, tapi 1 tak termasuk. So that should be negative infinity 1 open. Okay, then we're going to continue from 1 to infinity. Okay, union 1 to infinity. Okay, so for the range pula, range from down to up. So negative infinity, ingat dia tak berhenti dekat negative 1. This is not the asymptote. Dia berhenti dekat 0. Okay, dia rapat dengan 0 tapi tak kena 0. So that should be negative infinity 0, union, sambung balik 0 to infinity. Okay, 0 to infinity. And you can check back this one, the range, this value here should be your horizontal asymptote, and this value here should be your vertical asymptote. Okay, so that is how we sketch a rational function. Okay, so let's quickly do the other example here. We have 1 over 3 minus x plus 2. Okay, where x is not equals to 3. So the first thing that we have to find is the basic shape. Okay, so basic shape yang di depan ni, which is plus minus, ini ialah represent untuk ni plus, saya tulis balik lah. Ini ialah plus minus untuk A. Okay, so ini represent the shape. Okay, ini represent shape kita. So as you can see from here, the sign in front of x is negative. Since negative, shape kita yang di atas akan berada di sebelah kiri, yang ni di sebelah kanan. Okay, so let's find our vertical and horizontal asymptote. So vertical asymptote, we are going to refer to our x, which is already given here, or we can refer to the denominator here. We have 3 minus x is not equals, silap pula, 3 minus x is not equals to 0, x is not equals to 3. Okay, and then for horizontal asymptote, we refer to the back. Okay, yang belakang, the rest of the rational dekat sini, the rest of here. Okay, kadang-kadang dia letak kat depan, kadang-kadang dia letak dekat belakang. Okay, so here is your horizontal asymptote. So that should be y equals to 2. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you write x is equal to 3 or it doesn't matter if you write y is not equals to 2 or y is equals to 2. Tak ada masalah pun. Okay, so for the third step is we have to find the x-intercept and y-intercept. Okay, let's quickly find our x-intercept, which is when y equals to 0, we are going to have 1 over 3 minus x plus 2 equals to 0. And then we will have 3 minus x equals to negative 1 over 2. X is equals to 7 over 2. Which is this one is equals to 3.5. Okay. And then our y-intercept is when x equals to 0. So we will have y equals to 1 minus 3 minus 0 plus 1 over 3 minus 0 plus 2. Which is we have 7 over 3. So tekan kalkulator kamu, kita akan dapat 3.3. Okay. So we have everything that we want. We have the vertical asymptote, we have the horizontal asymptote. We also have our x-intercept and our y-intercept. Intercept. Y-intercept. Okay, so let's draw our axis here. We have x-axis and y-axis. Tak cantik pula axis saya ni. Okay, x and y. So the first thing that you have to draw is our horizontal and vertical asymptote, which is we have x equals to 3. Okay, here is x equals to 3. Kena dotted line Horizontal and vertical asymptote. Asymptote mesti direpresentkan as a dotted line. Okay. And then we have y equals to 2, which is somewhere around here. Tak perlu plot, kita just sketch sahaja. Kita just agak-agak lah dekat mana sepatutnya dia berada. Okay. And we know that our shape should be looking like this. Okay, kiri, kanan. So we know that the graph should be looking something like this. Okay. So kita lukis from the asymptote to here. Rapat, jangan kena. Okay. And jangan lukis macam ni pula. Okay. Jangan lukis terlalu jauh. Asymptote dia mesti rapat. Okay. Jangan rapat sangat. Okay. Gegau pula. Okay. Okay. And don't forget to write your x and y intercept. So y intercept is 3.3. X intercept is 3.5. So the domain and range, domain should be negative infinity to, berhenti di mana tu? 2. Silap. Domain di sini. Left to right. Okay, berhenti di x equals to 3. So 3 union 3 to infinity. And as for range, we will have negative infinity to union 2 to infinity. Okay, as I said earlier, your range here, this one should represent your horizontal asymptote, and your domain here yang di tengah ni supposed to be your vertical asymptote. Okay, so that's all.